always have a false grip. Come back over here, Joe. Let me explain the false grip. So, number one thing on the rings that you need to know is your grip. When you're gripping a bar, a lot of people just have a regular grip, hook grip, thumbs under or thumbs over. Can't have your grip like that on the rings. You got to know what's called the false grip. False grip is wrist over. It's fully, look at the flexion in the wrist. Why is that? Because on the rings, in order to get yourself up over it, your wrists have to be over the rings already. So if you're trying to do a muscle up on the rings and you pull up here, you can't get your hands over like that. Your hands have to be in what's known as a false grip. So a false grip, here, 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 press up into the muscle up. If your hands were here and you pulled up, how are you transferring that grip? How is your hand going over? You can't. There's no kipping on a ring. On a bar, how do you get your wrist over? You're always generating a little bit of momentum from your feet and from your core. On the rings, it's full pull. It's a full pull strength. If you kip on the rings, this is what's going to happen. The rings are going to move. You can't kip on it because the rings are going to jump. Remember, they're not solid. So it's a full pull on the rings. False grip, number one, like I said.
All right, Elvis, talk to the people, man. Let them know what's getting ready to go down.
Yo, what's good? You're with BarNaturalPrez. We're on the rings today, and I'm going to give you a rings workout for beginners with progressions. I'm going to start you from step one. If I was to teach a beginner how to start, these are the first movements I would teach them, and I would take them through the progressions to get better and better into more advanced movements. So when starting on the rings, you're going to notice there's always going to be more instability than being on a parallel bar or a pull-up bar, just because they're not stagnant. Obviously the rings, they're always moving, so you're going to have a lot more core activation and stabilizer muscles. So first thing I would tell somebody to do is just try to jump up into a dip hold, just like this. This is called a full support lockout. Now most people when they jump on the rings for the first time, when they jump up, they're going to be wobbly because they've never used the muscles involved to hold themselves up in that position. So this is called a hollow body support hold. You have to be strong in this position in order to do any progressions on the rings. If you want to do a dip on the rings, you got to be able to hold that position. If you want to do a pull-up on the rings, you got to be able to hold that position. Front lever, back lever, same thing. That's the number one move to start out on the rings. So I'm going to walk you through it again. You're going to walk up to the rings, so they're about shoulder height, stepping in between them, body in a hollow. Everybody, your body's always going to be tight. You don't want your body to be loose because that's going to have loose chains in the network of your body. Everything tight, one kinetic chain. Here, all we're going to do, jump up on one solid line. Land, support it out just like this. Now you don't want the rings to be twisted forward, you want your palms to be out. This is called a full hollow body hold. This is going to engage your entire chest, your shoulders, your core, even your glutes are going to become engaged because you have to hold your legs straight and engage your body to stay from rocking back and forth. So that's the number one step to get stronger on the rings, is getting better in that hollow body support hold. Alright, so from there, I would take you into some shoulder drills, which would be progressions. If you ever want to learn a back lever or a front lever, you're going to have to learn what's called skin the cats. So for skin the cat, we're going to just go in a basic dead hang. All our weight down, hanging, feet on the floor still. First thing you're going to do is lift one leg up. Second leg up, you're going to stay tucked and you're going to start coming around. This is the first step. Straight arms, no bend in your arms. All you want to do is raise from the floor and pull your body up. First things first, just get to vertical and get comfortable here. I would recommend doing sets of 3 to 5 reps for 5 sets of just pulling from the floor to totally vertical. It's going to really engage the lats, the core, and it's going to be the number one progression for working on that front lever. And then from there, I'm going to take you to the next progression, which will be going into full skin the cat, which is a back lever progression. So from there, we're going to come around fully, full 360 turn on the rings. So here again, full 360 this time. We're going from the bottom all the way through. This would be a tough back lever hold. And if you go all the way down, you're in a beginner skin the cat. Then you pull back up, back to the starting position. That's 1 rep. Pull back, all the way around, staying tucked. You don't want to open your legs yet. You want to keep your knees bent the whole time. Come all the way around. This is a back lever. Skin the cat. Pull back. And the whole time, keeping your arm straight, no bend in the arm. So you're pulling the whole time with your lat, pulling up from your core, glutes are engaged, everything. So I would recommend doing parallel body holds and sets of front lever and back lever pulls, just like that, for sets of beginners to start off. All right.
Any more? Yeah, keep going. Yeah.
All right.
It's raw footage. You're unedited. Just keep going.
What up?
Yeah, just keep going.
All right, bet. So once you get good and comfortable at your body going through that space, coming from full lockout with your body in front of the rings, once you get comfortable pulling through all the way for reps, just like this, you want to start working on holds. Holds are going to build a lot of strength in the isometric position. So first we would go like this. We would start here, pull up, and hold, tucked, just like this. This is a tucked front lever hold. You have your hold back, your scapula's engaged, everything. From there, come down. You want to work on holding that tuck position for time. You want to try to accumulate 1 minute total. So aim for maybe 10 sets of 6-second holds, or maybe 6 sets of 10-second holds, depending on your strength level. Once you can hold for that 1 minute, it's time to move on to the next progression. So once you get comfortable holding in that front lever position, you're going to start going back into the back lever. It's going to engage a lot more shoulder mobility, and in theory, a back lever is a lot easier than the front lever. But I always teach starting from the bottom up, so you work through that whole range of motion, that whole space. So here we're going to go all the way around and hold in a tuck back lever. You got that with the sound? I'll say it again. So here we're going to go all the way around and hold in a back lever, tuck back lever. Pull up, straight arm, all the way around, and we're going to hold here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pull back forward, come back. That's 1 rep. Come back around, hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come back around. That's 1 rep. You want to try to accumulate again 1 minute of total holds per the set. Once you can get 1 minute accumulated time in that back lever position, you're ready to move on to the next progression. The next progression would be a full back lever in the back lever position, and forwards would be a full front lever position. So I'll take you through both of those next.
Alright, before you start, explain this up here. Why you got the using that instead of like the the bar? Explain that.
Alright, so if you're in the park and you have a spot to hang up your rings, I suggest using a.
Okay.
Alright, so if you're in the park and you're trying to hang your rings up, I suggest finding. If you're in the park and you're trying to hang your rings up, I suggest using a basketball hoop. One, it's higher, so you're going to get a lot more height on the rings and more slack. The more slack on the rings, the harder the sets are going to be, because it's going to provide more instability throughout each set. The shorter the slack, the less movement in the rings. So if you find a basketball hoop, you want to use the back piece, the triangle piece.
The back frame, not the...
You want to use the back frame. You don't want to use the round side spots, because those round bars, when you're doing sets, the rings will tend to slide out. It just happens over time. If you're doing dips or anything, there's nothing to hold them in place. There's more friction on that triangular bar, so the rings don't really slide. It takes a lot to slide them. If I was on that bar, they would just slide back and forth real easily, and it would fuck up your sets and it'd make the width too hard. So again, use the back support beam, and your rings will stay in place throughout the whole workout.
Okay, thanks for explaining that. All right, so what's the next progression now?
All right, so I'm going to take you through the back lever first, since it's the easier of the 2 variations of the levers. For levers, you got back lever, front lever. So a back lever, full back lever looks like this. hold, horizontal. Pull back up, front lever. Give me a minute to do that set again.
Okay. All right.
Front lever takes a lot. I'll do 2 more back levers and then I'll do front levers.
Okay.
After I'll separate them.
All right.
And I'll show, what up? Yeah. So I'll do, on the next set I'll go into a tuck back lever first, and I'll show you the variation, the beginner variation of the tuck lever, and then I'll open up into full back lever, and I'll show you how you go from one variation to the next.
Okay. All right.
All right. So again, I'm gonna go beginner to advanced in one set. Beginner. Now to get to advanced, open. Come back around. Now I'll do it in a different variation. I'll come back, beginner, advanced. Caught that?
Mm-hmm. Thought you was gonna do one with the legs straight out.
Forward.
This way, yeah.
Yeah, front lever.
Okay.
Give me a minute. That's
okay.
Let me refresh.
All right.
Takes a lot out of you.
Okay. This is my man Elvis, aka BarNaturalPrez. He's doing a rings workout for beginners with progressions.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Something different for the channel, showing you all the rings.
Yeah, and again, if you're looking for a different challenge, bar's always good. The rings always provide that extra instability aspect. So if you're looking to make any progress, if you hit a plateau on the bars, I always recommend switching workouts up to the rings because it'll wake up muscles that you'll never have to use on the bars. So again, them shaking like this, all your stabilizer muscles are going to start activating. And you're going to really build that nice tone, definition that you don't see on the reg, you know? That real deep muscle cut and everything. So all that I credit to the rings. And again, being able to hold yourself and being tight on the rings, your body just becomes more aware of itself. You get that full body tension throughout every workout. If you got a loose edge, your body ain't gonna be able to hold that lever. Everything's gotta be engaged. So it's always full body engagement, more activation of all the muscles, and just you get an overall better workout in general than on the bars itself. Go on the bars and do 5 muscle ups, 10 pull-ups, 10 dips. Go on the rings and try to do it. You'll probably get half the sets, half the reps. That's a fact. All right, let's go front lever.
All right.
All right, so I'm gonna take you through front lever beginner to front lever advanced. Beginner front lever, you're holding tuck, just like this. Advanced, straight legs, coming down. I'll do the straight one again.
Okay.
Take a minute. That hold takes a lot.
Not as easy as it looks.
Not as easy as it looks.
I'm not too familiar with the ring, so I know.
Especially because I'm going from back to front in one set. It's really taking a lot on the pulling strength. So again, remember, it's straight on pulling strength throughout all these workouts. So your lats and your back is engaged throughout the whole thing. It's very fatiguing. It's almost like being in an isometric hold the whole time. And isometrics build the most strength, help you bust through the most plateaus. So if you're, like I said, if you're looking to bust through plateaus and get stronger, I always recommend trying your sets out on the rings. You'll feel the difference.
Okay.
You get a sip of water. Yo, beautiful. Thank you. All right, so full front lever.
All right, my brother.
it's a hard move. So the way you build up strength, take long rest periods, and you try to get max holds each set. So even if I'm holding 1 to 2 seconds each set, I'll go for 10 sets to try to accumulate a total of 20 seconds. Just that time under tension is what's gonna build the progress and the progression to help you get better and better at the movement. You gotta teach your body and has to understand the actual movement that it's doing. It's a central nervous system activation exercise too. So your body has to understand how to hold itself in that position. Remember, everything's engaged. You're not just doing a single isolation movement. To hold that motion, to hold that lever, you gotta flex everything. Your glutes, your back, shoulders, everything's engaged. So again, full body workout doing that. A lot of central nervous system activation and a lot of just adaptations that's taking place throughout each set.
So it's harder to do a front lever on the rings than it is on a straight bar?
I would say once you get a front lever, you should be able to do a front lever. It's not an easy move, so if you could do it on the straight bar, you should be able to do it on the rings. But I would recommend training it on the rings because it's going to give you more strength in general for that transfer over to a pull-up bar, in my opinion.
So you say start with the rings first on the front lever.
For learning levers, yeah. One, when you're training levers on a bar, you always got the pull-up bar in the way, so you can't fully get your body through. So if you want to do a full rep, you can't go to full vertical hold and then lower yourself down, because when you're pulling yourself up on the bar's going to be there blocking you. It's going to hit your legs. The rings allow for that full range of motion, full shoulder extension into full flexion in the hold. So again, I would recommend training front lever and back lever first on the rings, and then the transfer over to the bar will be a lot easier.
And a high bar, too, you was talking about the height of the bar. This is real high, as y'all can see.
Of course, like I said, you want a lot of, like I said, the more slack on the rings, the more slack you have here between the ring and the point of support, the harder the sets are going to be. So, like I said, if I was to jump up as a beginner, I would be shaking because these straps are going to be really long right now, and they're going to want to wobble. If these straps were shorter, but I'm not even going to be able to demonstrate because the bar is too high. But just imagine if the strap only hung here and the ring was here, they would not swing as much because there's not as much slack. So it's less stability required in your body in general. It's almost like training on a stagnant ring, just like that. So when you're training rings, you want to try to get as much slack on the ring as possible. Just makes all the sets harder. And again, you want to be able to activate as much muscle fibers and throughout each set as possible. Yeah,
that's why the gymnasts look so strong and jacked. They mess with the rings, I'm guessing. That's a big part of their routine that people don't really talk about. They think, you know, the gymnasts mess with them rings, man.
100%. That's what pretty much got me inspired to start on the rings, because I started on the bar my first 2 or 3 years, and then I said, yo, what's different than these gymnasts are doing? And I seen them, they all trained on the rings, and they all had those really solid, defined muscles that you wouldn't see from most people.
Right.
And just getting on the bar, you notice you'll feel muscles sore for the first time that don't get sore from doing regular sets on the bar. You go do dips on it, you're going to notice how much harder they are. Just holding up in that, like I said, that hollow body support is full engagement. You're going to notice how much sore you get just from doing shit like that.
I want everybody to keep that in mind. That's why a lot of them Russian gymnasts, man, they so strong. They transfer from gymnastics to the bar, and they so nice. Y'all don't know they mess with them rings, and they do, you know, they mess with the rings, man.
So and they grew up doing this. I got plenty of Russian dudes, older men that come here see me. Oh, they tell me, oh, back in my day we did this in our school, in our gymnasium. That's what they did for school. So you can see how they were ahead of us. We should be doing that in here in our schools.
Yeah, we don't have no excuses.
Exactly.
So that's it for the tutorial, my brother? Oh, you got something else?
You want to save we could do like a shoulder, back, and chest the next time, because this is just beginner like.
So this is good stuff. We good?
Beginner movements, yeah.
Okay.
Just doing sets like that, and a day is gonna get people sore.
All right.
I would recommend. So if you're coming to the rings, it's your first time. So again, start with hollow body holds. You want to, like I said, rings at shoulder level. You want to walk up to them. You want to get into a line. Everything tight before you start jumping. You want to always have a false grip. Come back over here, Joe. Let me explain the false grip. So, number one thing on the rings that you need to know is your grip. When you're gripping a bar, a lot of people just have a regular grip, hook grip, thumbs under or thumbs over. Can't have your grip like that on the rings. You got to know what's called the false grip. False grip is wrist over. It's fully, look at the flexion in the wrist. Why is that? Because on the rings, in order to get yourself up over it, your wrists have to be over the rings are ready. So if you're trying to do a muscle up on the rings and you pull up here, you can't get your hands over like that. Your hands have to be in what's known as a false grip. So a false grip here, 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 press up into the muscle up. If your hands were here and you pulled up, how are you transferring that grip? How is your hand going over? You can't. There's no kipping on a ring. On a bar, how do you get your wrist over? You're always generating a little bit of momentum from your feet and from your core. On the rings, it's full pull. It's a full pull strength. If you kip on the rings, this is what's gonna happen. The rings are gonna move. You can't kip on it because the rings are gonna jump. Remember, they're not solid. So it's a full pull on the rings. False grip, number one. Like I said, get comfortable, wrist over. Get this, this is number one thing you gotta start out with is a false grip dead hang. Wrist over, fully locked out like that, and we wanna hang just like this in a dead hang. Look at my wrist, come close. Look at my wrist on the rings. You see where my wrists are? They're over the ring still. If I drop like this, I lose the false grip and I lose all pulling strength. So get really comfortable at that false grip. Keeping your wrist fully flexed over the rings and get comfortable with the dead hang. That's the number one step that you should start practicing on the rings. You get good at that, then you start moving on to the next thing. Start moving into the support hold. From there, support hold. Fully locked out. And you want to do all these, you want to accumulate for time. You want to be able to hang. 1 minute dead hang. You want to be able to accumulate that. Do sets of 10 seconds, 6 sets of 10 seconds. Do 10 sets of 6 seconds. However you have to do it to build up to that 1 minute of solid holding, that's how you do it to move on to the next progressions. You want to really build your muscles on the rings and let them get comfortable at each position, because that's how you're going to constantly be able to progress. Like I said, the rings are a different ball game than the bars. So number one, false grip, dead hangs. Number two, support holds. Number three, skin the cats and front and back of the progressions. That's going to really train the shoulder and open the shoulder joint up. It's going to build a lot of mobility. You're going to need a lot of shoulder mobility on the rings because, again, the rings are unstable. So in order to stay stable, this all has to stay and everything has to stay tight and engaged. Unlike the bar, you could rest. There's no resting on the rings. You got to stay up the whole time. Everything's got to stay locked out. So number one thing, shoulder strength, shoulder mobility. You train that by doing all straight arm movements, the skin the cats, and the support holds. Those are going to be the two basic movements to build the strength to get good on the rings. Just by doing those two movements alone, you're going to notice a big difference in strength in general on the rings.
Okay, thanks a lot, Elvis, man. This was a nice video on, you know, how to get progressions on the rings for beginners, man. Make sure y'all subscribe to my man's YouTube page and follow him on Instagram. Links will be in the description box. Thanks a lot, BarNaturalPrez.
Appreciate it.